Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of 1999 Sucked. Now, when I started this series, this was the one show that I wanted to review more than any other show that I've done so far in this series. A word of caution before I go on, and that is that because I want to save a bit of time, I have recorded 4 episodes of 10 years ago to be broadcast in October and November, yeah? And if I talk about worst matches or worst shows or things like that, bear in mind they were pre-recorded. They were basically, I watched the show and I decided to review it while it was fresh in my mind, yeah, and then watch this one. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell by the title, this is Heroes of Wrestling from 1999. Attendance 2,300 people. The buy rate from this one, I don't know what the actual buy rate was, but I do know that 29,000 poor souls bought this show. Your hosts are Dutch Mantel and Randy Rosenbloom, and no, I don't know who that is either. Gordon Soley was advertised on this show to the point where he was advertised on the pre-show. Was he there? Was he? Bollocks, we got some angles to set up this show, and then let's get on with it. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go on, this is world renowned as the worst wrestling show of all time. Bear that in mind. Please bear that in mind, and please pray and pray again for my poor, damaged, broken soul. Okay, let's get on with this. So, the Samoan SWAT team, which is the Tonga Kid, I'm sure you remember him, and Samu, or Fatu as he was back then, defeated Marty, Jannety and Tommy Rogers in a truly crap opener. The ring announcer sets things off nicely. He says, somebody's going to get their ass kicked tonight. Lovely with that. Can't go wrong with that one, can you? The Samoan SWAT team are managed by some guy. Long stalling session at the start. Jannety hits a drop kick, which looks like it wasn't meant to happen, as Rogers was also going for a clothesline, which is a lovely, nice way to start it. They do some stalling, more stalling, and then more stalling. Faces work the arm to absolute silence. Chinlock by Jannety, who then plays the face in peril. Including hitting with Fatu, or Samu, whichever one you are calling this, hits Jannety with a chair, which Randy Rosenbloom calls unethical. Never heard of that one before. Chair shot has been vile and ugly, nasty. Unethical? Come on. Anyway, Rogers gets a hot tag, hits a drop kick, which Randy calls a flying leg kick, like a complete idiot. He has a dual DDT, which, honest to God, is the nicest moment in this match. Jannety hits a plancher, and a nice TKO gets the win for the Samoan SWAT team, which incidentally Randy called it a Samoan drop. Now, this was a quarter of a star match. You know, yay. So, after that, Greg the Hammer Valentine defeated George Steele in an awful match, and this one, ladies and gentlemen, is the first of many minus star ratings for tonight. So, Greg comes out to literally no reaction. He cuts a promo and gets no reaction at all. Basically, there's a ludicrous amount of stalling at the start. Ludicrous. Greg puts George's t-shirt over his head and starts pummeling him. And then, Sherry Martel, who's out with Greg, with George Daniel Steele, batters him. But of course, George has got his t-shirt over his head, so he doesn't tell. Steele gets a fork and uses it, and then gives it to Sherry, who, remember, came out with George. Bear that in mind. Who then gives it to Greg. So George, he takes his t-shirt off, uses the fork, gives it to Sherry, who gives it to Greg, who then uses it on George. Yeah? They do a fuckload more stalling, and then Sherry hits George with a chair so that Greg can get the win. Fantastic. The booking of that makes so little sense. You'd think that PS2 fucking Peter had fucking booked this shit. Why didn't Sherry just come out with Greg and be a heel? I don't understand it why she comes out with George. I just don't understand it at all. -2 stars. So bad it is freaking scary. Then, Too Cold Scorpio defeated Julio Fantastico in a terrible match. On paper, this one should be at least okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have zero clue who Julio Fantastico is and why he's all of a sudden a hero of wrestling. Also in this match, ladies and gentlemen, Too Cold Scorpio comes out with a fake WCW title, and I don't know why, and the announcers don't explain why. So I assume you've just got to accept it. He's coming out with a WCW title. Just deal with it, right? Just deal with it. Just deal with it. Anyway, OK Wrestling to star. It's one of those ones where it's one good move, yeah, but two moves that are bad or sloppy or look too horrible or punches that don't connect, sort of thing, you know. Scorpio with a splash to the outside. Julio then tries to do one of his own and completely botches it. Backdrop into the crowd, but the cameras are too busy focusing on the fans. Back in the ring, Scorpio hits a springboard splash for 2. Julio hits a terrible facebuster for 2. Randy calls a drop kick, a spinning toe kick. A crap-looking tumbleweed gets the win for Scorpio, even though one of Julio's shoulders are clearly off the mat. Now, the only thing I can think of for that explanation is they plan to do more of these pay-per-views, and they were going to do this match again, and they were going to use that moment there as, look, you didn't beat me, look, my shoulder was up, we're having a rematch. That's the only reason I can think of. I am a generous soul. You know that by now. You know by watching this series that I'm a generous guy. Half a star. Yes! King Kong Bundy puts a promo where he shouts a lot and says he will get the win with the Avalanche and a 5 count in his match with Yokozuna. So then the Bushwhackers, or the artists formerly known as the Bushwhackers, defeated the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov in a woeful match. Another -1 this one. Volkov sings the Russian national anthem, Yawn, and the Iron Sheik demonstrates the Iranian clubs, which is an impressive feat, but I've seen it millions of times, so don't actually care. Oh, and he cuts a promo telling the fans to stop chanting USA with predictable results. Oh, yes. Majorly stalling at the start. The heel punches are the worst I've ever seen. I mean, seriously, Mr. Insano punches are better than this. These punches have got at least that much gap between fist and face. Terrible. Just terrible. Back to stalling as the heels bail. The Sheik threatens to leave inside, and I mean eventually, and I really mean it takes them forever to get back in the ring. Volkov chokes Luke and lays in the worst boot I've literally ever seen. He literally is just going meh, meh. It's like he's dead. It's like he's trying desperately not to hurt him instead of making them look vicious. You know. Sheik hits a few moves and stalls, as does Volkov, who hits a terrible backbreaker. Camel clutch, Butch hits a hot tag, and then there's heel miscommunication for the win for Butch. Oh dear me, the Bush. Oh, I don't actually care. Let's just go on to another one. -3 stars, just awful, just plain terrible. Having someone like me, Volkov and Sheik can barely move between them. Why have these two on the pay-per-view? I just do not understand at all. This match was so very bad.